Ever wonder why giving her space could be the key to getting her attention? Picture yourself in this situation. You've given it your best to pursue her, but the more you try, the more elusive she gets. Then you decide to try a different approach, and all of a sudden, the dynamics drastically change. Welcome to our conversation today, where we'll be fusing contemporary dating psychology with the age-old Stoic wisdom. In this video, we explore why, on occasion, taking a step back can be the most effective way to approach a woman. It's not just about trying too hard. It's about embodying the Stoic virtues of self-discipline and emotional independence. By deliberately withdrawing, you not only pique her interest, but also pique her desire to pursue and engage with you. Get ready to learn how paying attention to detail can maximize attraction. We'll also look at how making space can result in a deeper, more sincere connection. When you're prepared to witness how less really can be more, tune in and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more life-changing perspectives on relationships and appreciating your worth. Consider. Here's the twist. When you stop chasing her after all, something amazing happens. You become a valuable jewel that everyone suddenly wants to uncover. By letting go of the chase, you and she both start to see how important you really are. When you were always there, ready and available, it was easy for her to ignore you. Perhaps she didn't realize how much you contributed. However, now that you've given yourself some space, it's as though you've turned on a spotlight on your own contributions. She is feeling the impact of your absence, which speaks volumes. Perhaps it's the way you could always make her smile on a bad day, or the precise way you showed support during difficult times. Maybe it's the little thoughtful things you did for her, like remembering a song she loves, or bringing her comfort food when she needed a pick-me-up. Now that she's by herself, she can spend her time reflecting on all the ways you enhanced her life, many of which she may not have realized to this point. Calm times, the inside jokes, the unplanned messages, the perceptive looks. From a Stoic perspective, this shift isn't just about her realizing you're gone, it's about you regaining your self-esteem by withdrawing and not seeking validation. You're embracing a fundamental Stoic principle, valuing yourself and not basing your happiness or identity on someone else. These memories are now replaying in her mind, turning what was once routine into something she misses deeply. L's acknowledgement. This isn't about playing games with her emotions. Rather, it's about learning that your value is independent on the amount of love or attention you receive from another person. When you stop chasing her, you take control of your own life and make the investments that bring you happiness, following your aspirations and emphasizing personal development. She starts to realize how significantly you enhanced her favorite moments. She begins to long for the times when you were her. Rock, the one who gave her warmth, support and joy without expecting anything in return, is now beginning to realize how valuable you really are, not because you forced her to look at you, but rather because you chose to back off and let her feel empty-handed. So, as you're out there living, learning and developing, she's coming to terms with the fact that you weren't just another option. Rather, you were an essential part of her life. And when she realizes this, my friend, it's as though she has discovered a treasure, a gem. Now that we've explored the significance of taking a step back and appreciating your worth, she might be the one searching for you, even though you've always been there, but were only now properly seen and recognized. That's where your strength rests. You've stopped chasing her. It's time to pause and reflect. Take a moment to consider how this applies to your own life. Have you been constantly seeking validation, or have you allowed yourself the space to truly be valued for who you are? If this message resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, share your experience, or simply type, "I am my own treasure," if you're beginning to see how valuable you truly are. Your reflections are always welcome, and they might just inspire someone else on this same journey. Let's keep the conversation going. As we move on to the next, point number 2. Growing attraction. We often hear that absence makes the heart grow fond. And while it might seem like an overused phrase, there's significant truth in it. Let's delve deeper, blending this idea with Stoic insights. When you pull back, you're not just creating absence, you're crafting intrigue, mystery, and most importantly, value. Here's what I mean. Imagine you stop the constant texting, calling, and striving to impress her. You shift your attention inside to your goals, development, and progress. From a Stoic perspective, your strength lies in this. You're not looking to her for approval or comfort any longer. Your purpose grounds you, and this quiet confidence radiates powerfully without you having to speak. Think about how she feels about this shift in your behavior. Your phone calls and messages have decreased, and you're not attempting to win her favor by any means necessary. Suddenly, you're less approachable, which piques her interest. She wonders about your pursuits, whether you're putting enough time into your career or your passions. This deepens the mystery surrounding you and makes her want to figure out why you're gone. It also helps her imagine the person you're becoming. She starts to recognize aspects of you that your past pursuits may have obscured, and recalls why she was drawn to you in the first place. Your wit, drive, and humor. It seems as though she is rediscovering you, and your allure grows stronger as a result of your ceaseless pursuit of her. The Stoic school of thought holds that we can only control our reactions and thoughts. External approval is beyond our control. By taking a step back, you're exercising this control and showing that your happiness is independent of her presence. Expressing regard for oneself. The attributes of independence and tranquility are inherently appealing. When you let go of the desire to chase her, she notices the difference. If she was previously the center of your universe, your diverted focus creates a space that heightens her allure. She starts to wonder about your whereabouts, your behavior, and why you're not as available. Her curiosity in this enigma grows, but there's more. When you give up the chase, you make it plain that you respect yourself and won't give up your dignity or self-worth to get someone's attention. This Stoic mindset comes through in you. Remain cool, collected, and detached from needing her approval. Focus on your growth and what you can control in your life, and this speaks volumes more than any elaborate gestures. Over time, she will start to miss you and appreciate the subtleties that first drew her attention. Maybe it's your ability to say things with subtle confidence, or the moments you share that seem to pause time with her. All these traits become more apparent and appealing, and she begins to see you in a new light. This is the paradox of attraction in action. Pursuit. You can maintain her interest in you by not giving her your whole attention. Blossom naturally, without any pressure. Number 3, she becomes curious about this scenario. You've been pursuing her non-stop, trying to catch her attention almost like a child chasing a kite on a windy day. Every morning begins with you sending her a message, and you frequently find yourself at locations she frequents in the hopes that she'll notice. Suddenly, you stop the good morning texts, the coincidental meetings end, and it seems as though you've disappeared from her radar, leaving her with nothing but a quiet emptiness. Now, what do you think happens next? By taking a step back, you disrupt. The pattern that she has become accustomed to causes her mind to race with questions. What's going on? Why did he suddenly back off? You're an enigma now, a puzzle that she can't solve. This is precisely the point at which her fascination begins to develop. This approach is deeply Stoic. Rather than trying to control the outcome, you let things evolve naturally, without desperation. Curiosity is a basic aspect of human nature, especially when things go against the plan. When you stop chasing her and stop investing all of your energy in her, she starts to think about you. She finds herself checking her phone for any missed messages from you, or she becomes more aware of your name. Suddenly, she's the one left in suspense, wondering where you've disappeared and what you're up to. Your constant pursuit gives them the upper hand. But when you give up and stop trying to win her approval, you undergo a dramatic metamorphosis and take back control. As a result, she starts thinking about you more, not because you're chasing her, but rather because your absence has piqued her interest in that newfound space. She wonders if she might have missed out on something important, if you might have lost interest in her, or if you've moved on to new experiences or friends. This change reflects Stoic wisdom. Flawlessly, constantly seeking someone's approval is a form of attachment, but when you step back and detach from the need for her attention, you liberate yourself from the chase's anxiety and become more appealing in the process. Your self-confidence and assurance radiate as you're no longer reliant on her validation to feel secure in yourself. Here's a powerful truth people are attracted to: what seems out of reach when you stop chasing and become that unresolved riddle. She finds herself increasingly thinking about you, not because you're playing games, but because you've turned into something intriguing, someone that provokes thought. By simply stepping back and allowing her curiosity to take over, you've turned into the most compelling part of her day. She'll notice the change, and before you know it, she'll be the one pursuing you, eager to discover why you're suddenly on her mind so much. And that, my friends, is how you effortlessly flip the script. You transform into the puzzle. She's eager to solve the mystery that continuously captivates her by not needing her. You become the man she finds herself irresistibly drawn to. The more you focus on your own well-being and peace of mind, the more magnetic you become. Before we dive into the next point, let's take a moment to reflect on this powerful shift. By stepping back and allowing her curiosity to grow, you essentially give her the space to realize your value without constantly pushing for her attention. It's a subtle yet profound change rooted in Stoic philosophy, where detachment leads to inner strength and a natural attraction. What are your thoughts on this strategy? Have you ever encountered a circumstance similar to this one? I'd love to know what you think in the comments section below. If this speaks to you, simply put, "I reclaim my power." It's a short phrase that conveys control over your own confidence and energy. Fourth, she takes some time to think. Here's an intriguing observation. As you stand back, something rather significant begins to occur in her mind in your absence. Doesn't just fade into the background. Rather, it sparks, going through a period of self-reflection that she may not have had before. It's almost as if you've put a mirror in front of her, and she's seeing herself from a whole new perspective. She starts to question whether her actions contributed to your distance. This is where it gets fascinating. Her mind becomes a kind of courtroom where she stands as both the accused and the judge. She goes back over past conversations, pores over texts and re-examines them, looking for any mistakes. Did she come across as distant, or was her tone a little chilly? This is a deep introspective journey, not just a passing concern. Path where she begins to scrutinize her behavior from a perspective she had never considered before. She is going through the memories of your time together and feels compelled to examine her behavior, attitudes, and readiness to connect emotionally. Why does this happen? Because you're stepping away and leaving a gap in which there used to be constant engagement. This emptiness causes her to question not only the nature of your relationship, but also herself. And this is where Stoic wisdom shines. By taking a step back, you exercise emotional restraint and detachment, which are fundamental Stoic virtues. Instead of reacting desperation or trying to make things right away, you choose to focus on yourself and are not looking for her approval or reassurance. As the Stoic philosopher Epicurus once said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. You've chosen not to pursue, but to let her reach her own insights. This change frequently leads her to an unanticipated insight about self-improvement. Maybe she realized that she didn't put in enough effort, that she wasn't as committed as she could have been, or that she took your interest for granted. Now that you've given her space, she's starting to change. This introspective time helps her mature, making her more aware of how she interacts with you and other people. That's the real beauty of Stoicism in relationships. It allows her to come to these realizations freely, free from manipulation or coercion. Meanwhile, you're living your best life, focusing on your aspirations and personal development rather than just waiting for her to return. You're emulating the Stoic ideal of resilience, moving forward no matter what the circumstances. This is incredibly empowering because you've mastered the skills of detachment and self-control, realizing that your value comes from within, not from her attention. When you decide to get back in touch, you'll probably find that she's changed. She's probably more appreciative, attentive, and maybe even more attracted to you than she was before. This is because your absence gave her time to think and realize what she might be missing. It's a win-win situation. The dynamic in your relationship has changed in your favor because you both have grown and changed. Therefore, remember that when you stop chasing her, you're not losing out. Instead, you're gaining an advantage by showing emotional fortitude and giving her the chance to think things through. This is the essence of Stoic power in relationships, letting go of the need to chase and enabling both of you to become better versions of yourselves. 5. She adjusts her focus. If you're around all the time, she might. Let's not get caught up in the small ways you make her day. Perhaps your conversations made her feel better, or your company gave her peace, because these things were always there, so she didn't fully appreciate them. But when you take a step back, the silence that follows makes her think, and she starts to realize what she's missing and why she didn't cherish those moments earlier. This shift transcends psychology. It embodies a Stoic lesson releasing what's beyond your grasp. Stoicism suggests concentrating on oneself and separating one's joy from other people's actions in order to regain one's own strength. By retreating, you're not playing with her emotions. Rather, you're giving her the opportunity to see your value on your own. Consider one more instance. If you've always been the one calling your friend to hang out, she might take your initiative for granted, assuming you'll always reach out. But if you pause, that gap might lead her to ponder why you're not calling, why she misses those fun outings. This might encourage her to value your efforts more and possibly reignite her interest in connecting with you. When her priorities shift to include you more thoughtfully, it signifies more than a passing fancy. It shows she values your role in her life and is ready to invest in the relationship. This change wouldn't occur if you hadn't stepped back by applying Stoic wisdom and letting go of the pursuit for her validation. You give her the space to recognize your importance at her own pace. In essence, when a woman begins to refocus her attention to include you significantly, it's a strong indication that she's not just curious, she's committed. This adjustment in priorities only comes when you cease the chase and allow her to approach you. So remember, if you've read this far, please leave a comment below sharing your experiences, or just type if this message resonates with you. Sometimes the greatest way to grow is to withdraw, release control, and trust that what is meant to be will occur organically. I believe in the ability of letting go to confirm that your voice matters, and I'd love to see how you're relating to these concepts. Let's move on to number 6, where she begins to recognize her feelings. She sees you working non-stop to get her attention, investing in every conversation, every small action, every moment. but then you pause, not out of frustration or defeat, but from a profound insight deeply rooted in Stoic wisdom. By stopping your pursuit, you offer her something unexpected, the opportunity to really consider your relationship. At this point, everything changes. It seems like a subtle shift in the atmosphere, as if you've triggered a thought that wasn't obvious to her before she begins to feel previously buried. This idea is straight from Stoicism, which advises us to let go of what we can't control and concentrate on our internal world, our actions, and our behaviors. When you stop chasing, you focus on your own inner calm and strength, rather than on outward consequences like her attention or reactions. Your self-worth and self-centeredness provide her the opportunity to contemplate her actual feelings for you. When you were constantly there, she didn't really have to think about the importance of your presence. She may have even taken it for granted. But now that you're not there, there's a void. And as they say, nature detests a void. She starts to notice things she didn't notice before, like the joy your words brought her, or the comfort she felt knowing you were nearby. It's like you've stopped a movie, and she's watching all the pivotal moments in her memory that she would have otherwise overlooked. As Marcus Aurelius frequently said, the obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way by stepping back. Your absence becomes the very element that makes her recognize your importance. She might find herself grinning at a joke you told, or realize how silent her phone is without your texts. Each realization builds on the one before it, leading to a profound revelation. She didn't realize the value of your presence until you took a step back. Keep in mind that this realization happens gradually, like embers slowly building into a fire. She may begin to daydream about you, wondering where you are, who you are with, and most importantly, why you're not there. She is being forced to cope with her own feelings by the sting of your absence. The beauty of it is that she comes to this realization on her own. You didn't have to convince her or alter her opinion. It just happened because you gave her the room to feel it, gentlemen. The secret to winning her heart might lie in the calm strength of taking a step back and letting her face her emotions, rather than in your relentless pursuit and effort. Let her understand what she had when she had you, and when she has that aha moment, it will mean even more since she made the decision, not you pressuring her. That's the Stoic approach in action. Take care of yourself, and everything else will work itself out. The fear of losing you, picture this. The moment you give up, trying to get her attention, everything changes. It's as if you've changed the rules of the game, and she starts to wonder if you still have interest in her. What was once a chase, your attempts to get her attention, have now transformed into her wondering why you've backed off. This change causes her to become extremely concerned that she might lose you. When something we've become used to starts to stray from us, it makes us value it more naturally. This is a powerful psychological strategy that is ingrained in human nature. We all have a yearning for things that appear to be out of our reach. She finds herself thinking about you more abruptly because you've become erratic and elusive, and this uncertainty upsets her sentiments. By withdrawing, you've made yourself scarce, going from being easily accessible to a mystery, a treasure that isn't as accessible as before. She might find herself checking her phone non-stop in hopes of receiving a text, which is happening less regularly now. She might start to wonder whether she pushed you away or did something wrong during these times, and her fear of losing you starts to grow. Here's where Stoic principles seamlessly fit into this dynamic. By deciding not to pursue her, you show that you have emotional control and that your value is independent of her approval. You also adopt an apathetic attitude toward the outcome, which is a core Stoic belief, as opposed to reacting emotionally or trying to force a connection. You keep your distance from everything. This doesn't mean you don't care. Rather, it demonstrates that you value yourself and don't need to beg for sympathy, which is what typically happens. Her fear of losing you drives her to take action. She notices the difference immediately and may try to rekindle the spark or initiate more contact as a result of your apparent lack of effort. In essence, she starts to make the same kind of effort that you once did in an attempt to maintain the connection that she fears is eroding. Take into consideration how this reflects Stoic wisdom by taking a step back and giving her the space to fully appreciate the value of your previous engagement. This is about realizing the inherent reciprocity in relationships, not about playing games. When you stop chasing after something, you're not playing a game. Instead, you're concentrating on your personal development. You give her the chance to come forward by doing this, ensuring your tranquility and well-being. This strategy has an effect, but it comes with a Stoic duty. When you pull away, you give her the opportunity to truly value your presence, fear its absence, and reflect on what your presence means in her life. In the end, the fear of losing you is effective because it shows that you are complete on your own and don't need someone else to fulfill you. That's where true strength resides. Your motivation should be self-respect, not control. Your decision to step back isn't about manipulating her interest, but about reaffirming that your happiness doesn't hinge on someone else's acceptance. Think about how this dynamic manifests in relationships for a second. Have you ever had a turning point where taking a step back altered everything? It's amazing how making space may encourage someone to reconsider things they've taken for granted. Please feel free to post a comment below with your opinions on this, whether you've seen it in your own life or whether it aligns with how you approach relationships. You can also just type, "I am aware of my value." Let's move on to the next idea with that mindset number 8, which will stir her competitive edge. Suppose you've been the one chasing her constantly, shifting the power dynamics in her favor so that she could easily absorb your attention with little effort. However, when you take a step back, the roles suddenly reverse, and she finds herself chasing you to capture your interest. It's no longer just about her catching your eye. She also needs to take into account that others might be vying for your glance, starting a new fire. Although envy may have a role, this motivation isn't the only thing that she feels. In part, it's about her proving her worth to herself. She wants to show that she's worthy of your time, attention, and energy. The moment you give up the chase, she realizes that your attention isn't guaranteed. You might notice her becoming more conscious of how she looks, or that she suddenly shows interest in your hobbies, such as your favorite sports, music, or secret places you love to visit. She's trying to remind you of why you were drawn to her in the first place. Ironically, the more you distance yourself from her, the harder she attempts to bridge the gap. But it gets even better. Whether she realizes it or not, she's up her game and putting more effort into impressing you than just trying to win you back. This is about her wanting to be the greatest version of herself. Herein lies the beauty of Stoic wisdom. Gentlemen, sometimes the most powerful move is to simply step back and let her come to you. By doing so, you not only live out the Stoic virtues of inner peace and self-reliance, but also demonstrate to her that you are worth it. That is, that you are content and unaffected, and that if she doesn't take action, someone else might eventually turn you into someone unexpectedly worthy of pursuing a prize in a game she didn't realize she was playing. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-control, patience, and realizing that we can only control ourselves, not others. Since you're not pursuing anyone and are instead letting things happen naturally in this situation, she will either step up or you can move on, knowing that your worth was never dependent on her in the first place. As we wrap up today's conversation, it's important to realize that sometimes taking a step back is the best way to catch a woman's attention. This strategy goes beyond simply altering the routine. Pace is about honoring and preserving your dignity. Stoic wisdom teaches us that our actual power comes from inside, and that by concentrating on your own life rather than pursuing someone else non-stop, you will inevitably become more attractive. If you found this talk helpful, please leave a comment below and share your experiences. This space gives her the opportunity to reflect on things, and often she will start to realize what she has been missing. This strategy isn't about playing mind games. Rather, it's about respecting yourself and radiating confidence. When you stop looking for approval from others, you reclaim your power and exude a serene, confident vibe that naturally attracts people. For more insights like these, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. For additional advice on mastering the art of attraction, check out the recommended videos on your screen.